delightful. We've been waiting all year for it.
No, I've never done any kind of thing, any kind of project like this before, so it was really exciting for her.
He loves science, first of all. So he was on the robotics team at school. So starting out, it's already in his brain, he's interested. So he chose to do the SciTech.
It also gives the kids some pride in what they're doing and accomplishments and direction for possibly the future.
And you have down the side here, it says narrator voice, or it says nar.vo, narvo.
Well, the philosophy behind SciTech Academy, science, technology, in a 5-day format, the philosophy was to get kids in a camp environment here at Turtle Bay Exploration Park with the Shasta County Office of Education, the Schreder Planetarium. We got the kids wrapped around the idea of service learning, the idea that they needed to think about our community. One of our objectives is to expose kids to the ideas of STEM, and STEM is the acronym Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. It's a national initiative driven by big business and, of course, education to put kids in the pipeline at the college and university level so that we have a robust group of people that are going to be able to carry our country forward.
One of the needs that became apparent is that there were a lot of kids that really wanted to participate in science and engineering programs offered by these institutions, but they, because of the economy and the situation, financial conditions, they weren't able to do that. So what C.H. Tulum Hill's involvement with Whiskeytown Environmental School and Schreder Planetarium, our objective is to get kids that would otherwise not be able to participate. We facilitate their participation by giving them dollars so they can go to the programs.
We really couched this camp with the concept of service learning. The idea that learning can take place by giving service back to your community. And it could be in the area of anywhere from picking up trash to taking care of our streams and our environments. But we wanted to go up one more level. We wanted to look at the environment, the overall picture of what makes a healthy Shasta. So these teens, by looking at service learning, we're going to come up with some kind of civic responsibility, some kind of community message that says our community matters, our county matters, and the resources in it matter. And that was the kickoff for what would become their commercials.
I remember David telling you about it. It's a big scar on our mountainside, and basically what's there is some of the most acidic waters on Earth.
I perceived my duties during the program as sort of the coordinator when David wasn't there. And since David wasn't there, it became kind of a rewriter of the schedule. We spent a lot of time before the campuses started making up a schedule for these kids. We found out very quickly that that schedule wasn't going to work. So a lot of the time there in the beginning was spent fixing this schedule, making it up on the spot, and a lot of just kind of on the spot work.
I thought I was going to be taking care of the kids, partially making sure they're safe, having fun, being an instructor. So I'd be talking to them, teaching them a little bit about how to do different things. Part of what I was doing was teaching them programming. So it was interesting because I had to compress programming into like a 5-minute spiel and get them to be able to do something with the software. So that was kind of a challenge, but it was fun being able to pass along some of the knowledge I've gained over the years.
There were a number of modules that we showcased using Shasta College. They were a fantastic partner in this whole process. We were able to use the Earth System Science Labs, led by Randy Reed out there. We were also able to use the IT lab. This allowed them to play with all kinds of visual simulations in the areas of physics and earth science and life science. It also gave them another breakout room where they could actually go with their iPads and work on the content, the storyboarding of their commercials that they were making. And it also gave us the ability for us to bring in our robotics and our engineering. And that plays in again to that STEM acronym that I mentioned earlier. We wanted kids to be able to play with the engineering concept, to learn a little bit about what it means to make robots that might be sensitive to the environment. These robots aren't just your simple toys, they actually have the ability to test water, check at different temperatures. They have environmental characteristics, which I think is pretty exciting. So allowing those kids to play with the very same tools that are being used at MIT, I think was an exceptional experience. Our camp took a very unusual twist in its design in that we used content at the college, Shasta College of course, as one of the ways to provide information for the students and give them an experience in the area of how they were going to develop their PSA, their commercial. Through interaction with the college and using Randy Reed out there in the earth science systems and their technology department, we were able to utilize that facility and put the kids on a collegiate level campus, and also brought kind of the level of their learning and their experience up a whole nother notch. We were not at some elementary school, we were doing some top-notch research. I think it's a pretty exciting way to look at how we were building this philosophy. The first day of our camp started out with a brief talk about what service learning is, and from there we took them down to Channel 11, where they were exposed to what a studio looks like. The idea of that experience was to put the campers in a studio setting, let them see all the cool equipment that goes on with that, the cameras, and then get an explanation from some of the employees down there on what it means to develop a commercial. So they gave their experience to the campers, and with that showed them how to storyboard and write out what they needed for the next 4 or 5 days to develop their actual commercial. And with that, it was a good launch platform for them to actually do it.
Don't like litter either, so stop littering or they'll get you! Come on, I'm thirsty, let's go!
I wouldn't want to do this and knock my colleague out. I want you to recognize that plate tectonics and understanding how plates collide and separate helps society find the materials it needs. And that's part of what this mine is about, or was about. It was about finding the materials we need. The Gannon Mine locality, I thought, was one of these great places here in Northern California that we could visit. We could talk a little bit about the significance of mining and how society needs materials, but also to begin to recognize that as water moves from atmosphere to landscape and then down into moving, flowing channels of water, that it's encountering and interacting with all kinds of materials en route.
When we finally got up to the top of the hill, we were looking at the outcrop of what was an old mine site. The kids had geologist tools, and it was fun to see kids actually using those hammers, crack open rocks. As we walked up through some of these little river areas, Randy Reed told us the path of water, that a simple drop of water at the top of a mountain makes its path all the way down to Whiskeytown Reservoir and eventually down the Sacramento River.
If that raindrop could trickle down the hillside, what creek would it end up in? My overarching goal was to get the students to think a little bit about water, where water comes from, how we interact with it, the landscapes that the water traverses, how we collect it, how we utilize it as a society, how it's affected by the surfaces that it moves across.
The exciting piece was not only did the kids see the path of water, but they took a rock back with them, something that they attach a memory to, and many of them hold that as precious. One of the other educational excursions was to Brandy Creek, also located up at Whiskeytown. The campers were asked to look at the surrounding trees and actually do a measurement of the trees along the creek.
Make sense of that. All right, we'll follow Randy. All right, guys. Mission Impossible stealth mode.
What we were interested in on this particular run was trying to understand the distribution of debris flows. And debris flows have a very specific shape, which is recognizable. And so the campers, the students, were kind of educated a little bit on what to look for in terms of debris flow margins and how you might recognize a debris flow. This is an area that has had historic debris flows. We have witnessed this process strike this area. And all of this material becomes deposited. So see where it says depositional zone? We are near the depositional zone of these debris flows. 4,000 feet in about an hour, and it's moving big boulders like this. So hopefully that helps you to appreciate just how devastating such episodes can be. You're moving a lot of stuff, it's descending a steep slope, and it's moving huge items downstream and has the potential just to wipe out huge areas. We really start out with just a basic question. Is there a way to look at the history of this natural phenomenon on the Brandy Creek drainage? It is a part of the Whiskeytown National Recreation Area. We get campers, we get day visitors. Lots of people visit this site, the campgrounds there. We started out with this idea that if there are multiple debris flows, can we use trees to identify past debris flows of different magnitudes, how they affected different portions of the channel, how the channel may have subsequently cut through these deposits. So just simply by measuring the diameter of tree trunks, we were literally, at just a first try here, able to identify multiple debris flow events in the Brandy Creek drainage.
It is about like this long. Measure that, can you? I can't really see it.
Okay. So let's see. Here.
This long from my fingers to my other finger.
Okay. So from here to there.
It helps if you go like.
And then you're
How much is it?
160
160 centimeters. 160? Like
Oh, I know this
5
is
centimeters.
Rocky Mountain maybe.
5 centimeters longer. So it's about so how what tall is it? No, I'll get one out. I'll get one out.
It can only go up to 2 feet to 4 feet. So it's not bad.
And I think that one there is an elm as well.
A good colleague of mine, Bev Markham from Chico State, said, the more you look, the more you see. And when you know, by the end of that process, the kids were noticing that some kind of huge erosion, rock flow, mud flow, had destroyed mass amounts of trees in that area. And they were able to document the actual location, and after a certain time could actually see the rock flow formations that they were walking over. It was pretty remarkable for them to see that in such a short time.
We're not just out looking at debris flows and trying to get students to kind of think about that. We are interested in having students think about their place in nature. Being in a place like Brandy Creek, which most of these kids have been to or have heard about from a friend, gives them this opportunity to just immerse themselves in what nature is.
That built into their further understanding of the changes that happen in our environment on a monumental.
So we've been talking a lot about water and how water moves through the environment, how we might affect water, how water is beneficial to agriculture. Obviously we need it for all kinds of things, industrial purposes. We need it just to live. So moving around with these cameras gives them this little window that they can drive through and pilot through, and they're very focused on what's inside that window. Whether it's a boulder on the edge of the creek that may have been displaced from the high mountainside, or whether it's a branch that's fallen into the creek, or even human waste like a paper towel or picnic plate, paper plate, something like that. Just to start thinking within that context of the here and now, and where's this material going to end up, and how is it going to interact with this river system. The outdoor filming was critical to that connection. They got to see that footage over and over again and then try to address it, try to evaluate it, which I thought was a very impressive component to the camp.
Be active, be healthy, be happy. HealthyShasta.org.
One of our other excursions was to go to Shasta Dam, and there was a number of things that the students discovered. One, it's one of those things, you know about it, you see it a lot, they may have even been on a field trip. We took them on this excursion with the concept of, again, the more you look, the more you see. So not only did we understand a little bit more about the path of water, we also understood, according to the Ganna mine and some of the other structures, geologic structures, where the gravel came from. I'm actually standing at the site here at Turtle Bay, which was the gravel quarry for much of the rock that is now part of Shasta Dam. I think it was an exciting piece to not only have this camp at the hub here at Turtle Bay, but our field trips that surrounded the area kind of put the whole message together. And so they were able to see in that engineering feat of Shasta Dam that sometimes humanity needs to harness nature in order to get what we need from it, but we also need to respect it.
Wow, Shasta Dam, massive dam, constructed for multiple purposes, flood control, power generation, reliable year-long water source. I think so many people turn on their garden hose, turn on the shower, they're not really thinking about where this water comes from, flip on a light switch. What's the energy source? How does something like a dam fit into societal needs? Why is Shasta Dam where it is? Major tributaries, Pitt River, McLeod, Sacramento itself, huge reservoir. Visiting the dam really lets someone key into this relationship that we should all be aware of. Our connection to, our reliance on nature. I was really excited this camp came along and began to pull students out. We need to reconnect with nature. We're not separate from it. We are not independent of it. Everything we do, everywhere you look, there's a connection, a natural resource that we're reliant on. There's almost nothing that I can think of that doesn't have an earth component to it, whether it's the water needed to manufacture or the raw materials that come out of the ground. So the dam itself is just this icon of that concept. Just getting out there and realizing that the clouds over the mountains are shedding water into this massive reservoir, and we are temporarily controlling it for human needs rather than just being oblivious in your house as the TV flips on.
One of the additional curriculum pieces and program pieces we included was information from the SETI Institute. The SETI Institute deals with radio astronomy. Of course, they have their telescope array out of Hat Creek, which I think is pretty exciting, and tied in with UC Berkeley. But I think the connection for us and having them as a partner with us in the education area was the area of space science and looking for life elsewhere. One of the things that scientists do in the space sciences is they make comparisons, and we call those analogs. Well, in looking at, say, something like Mars, we might go explore Mount Lassen and its lava pieces. In looking for life on other planets, we explored the Sacramento River right out here from Turtle Bay. Matter of fact, 2 years ago, a group of Cottonwood kids found caves on Mars through using satellites. And we were exploring caves here in Whiskeytown. So by making those kinds of connections and working with that kind of partnership, they've got many NASA scientists, we're able to get some top-notch stellar material and things that they were able to ship with us and get kids interested in the areas of astrobiology and space science. We have a 3-level approach to our leadership in our camps, probably much more different than most camps. I utilize interns, typically local students who have gone on to college and come back, and use them as kind of heroes, local heroes in the areas of science. And then we have our team leadership group. These are kids that I take under my wing, basically instruct them on how to mentor and lead basically the campers. And then of course we have our campers. What's neat about this event is a camper will typically turn around in a couple of years and become one of the leaders. And I had actually this year interns who I'd hired who had been a part of our camps. I think the powerful part of it is it's teens leading teens in a very powerful leadership way.
So the guided learning labs were, in the end, I think, kind of a learning opportunity for everyone. You get to know basically what your limits are as a teacher, as well as what these limits for the kids are as a student, and at the same time figuring out who's capable of what when you weren't so sure of these things before. It was a pretty cool experience.
NorCal, the gateway to nature, just minutes away from beautiful landmarks and parks. But this won't stay this way forever. Harmful things we did in the past are still affecting us and the environment to this day. Do your part, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Keep NorCal clean for generations to come.
Our plants and animals are suffering. Most of our harmful waste end up in creeks, rivers, and oceans. You can save animals by recycling. Save Mother Earth's children as if your own. Our environment is meant for all of us. We all need your help to change the planet. For if not, our world will disintegrate into the ugly future that could await us.
So our culminating activity for the PSA, the last day of camp, was to have the parents come to the Schreder Planetarium where we would show their commercials. They were all good. They were all fantastic, and they all presented a message of what makes a healthy Shasta and what they were able to accomplish in just a short 4 days with brand new technology was remarkable.
A lot of the parents were pretty ecstatic and enthusiastic about their kids being on these spots. They're pretty happy about it.